I come close to killing you a couple of times when we were younger.
John Wayne built his legend by looking fearless. On screen, he walked through bullets, bar fights, and death like nothing could touch him. But behind that hard cowboy image was a far messier story. There were 3 marriages, secret romances, family tension, heavy drinking, serious illness, political battles, and words that followed him long after he died. Then his California estate opened another door. His will, property, gifts, and shocking exclusions exposed choices that raised uncomfortable questions about the people closest to him. The man America saw as strong, loyal, and certain left behind a life filled with grudges, contradictions, and unanswered mysteries. Join us as we uncover John Wayne's rise, private scandals, bitter controversies, painful final years, and the estate decisions that revealed the Duke's darkest side. The accident that created John Wayne. Marion Robert Morrison was born on May 26, 1907, in Winterset, Iowa. The local newspaper even reported that the baby weighed 13 pounds. He later said his middle name had been changed from Robert to Michael after his parents planned to give Robert to another son. However, no legal record of that change has been found, so his official name seems to have remained Marion Robert Morrison. His father, Clyde Leonard Morrison, came from a family with Civil War history. His mother, Mary Alberta Brown, had roots in Nebraska. The family had Scottish, Scotch-Irish, English, and Irish background, and Marion was raised Presbyterian. Life did not stay settled for long. The Morrisons moved to Palmdale, California, and later to Glendale, where his father worked as a pharmacist. Marion did well at Glendale Union High School. He played football, joined the debating team, led the Latin Society, and wrote about sports for the school newspaper. Yet the name people remembered was not Marion. A local fireman saw him walking to school with his large Airedale Terrier, Duke, and began calling him Little Duke. Marion liked Duke far more than his birth name, and the nickname followed him for life. As a teenager, he worked in an ice cream shop owned by a man who also shod horses for Hollywood studios. He joined the Order of Demolay and later entered its Hall of Fame. His football skill helped Glendale win a league title in 1924. He hoped to enter the United States Naval Academy, but poor grades blocked that path. Instead, he attended the University of Southern California, studied pre-law, joined campus groups, and played football under Coach Howard Jones. At more than 6 feet 4 inches tall, he looked built for the sport. Then a body surfing accident caused a broken collarbone. Afraid to tell his coach how it happened, Duke stayed quiet. He lost his scholarship, could not afford tuition, and left university. For the moment, however, losing football left him with no clear future. That accident seemed like a disaster, but it placed him close to the door that would soon create John Wayne. A new name on a studio lot. Coach Howard Jones helped Duke find work after football ended. Silent Western star Tom Mix had received tickets to USC games, and Jones called in a favor. Mix and director John Ford hired the former player as a prop boy and extra. Duke moved furniture, handled equipment, and appeared wherever the studio needed another tall face. He later said his walk, voice, and screen manner were shaped by knowing Wyatt Earp, who was a friend of Mix. Whether he was carrying props or standing in the background, he watched closely. His friendship with Ford also grew during these early jobs. Ford gave him small parts, including an uncredited role as a guard in Bartolus the Magnificent in 1926. Duke also appeared with former USC teammates in football films such as Brown of Harvard, The Drop Kick, Salute, and Maker of Men. Fox once credited him as Duke Morrison in Words and Music, but even that name did not last. Director Raoul Walsh noticed him moving studio furniture and saw something useful in his size and presence. Walsh cast him as the lead in The Big Trail in 1930. The studio then needed a stronger screen name. Walsh first suggested Anthony Wayne, after the Revolutionary War general. Fox chief Winfield Sheehan thought it sounded too Italian. Walsh offered John Wayne instead, and Sheehan approved it. Duke was not even present when the name that would define him was chosen. His pay rose to $105 a week. The Big Trail was a huge gamble. It cost about $1.25 million and used hundreds of extras across wide parts of the American Southwest. It was filmed in a normal version and in a new 70mm process called Grandeur. Viewers who saw that wider version reportedly stood and cheered, but very few cinemas had the equipment to show it. The expensive idea reached too small an audience, and the film became a financial failure. John Wayne had received a grand entrance, a new identity, and a starring role. Then Hollywood pushed him back down almost as quickly as it had lifted him up. 80 westerns before anyone took him seriously. After The Big Trail failed, Wayne did not become an instant star. He returned to small parts in larger films and leading roles in very cheap westerns. In The Deceiver, released in 1931, he played a corpse. From 1932 to 1933, he worked in 6 B-movie westerns for Leon Schlesinger Productions and Warner Brothers. He disliked their reused footage of Ken Maynard and their low production value. Schlesinger focused more on his successful Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies cartoons, so Wayne's pictures were made quickly and cheaply. He also appeared in The Three Musketeers in 1933, a modern version set around French Foreign Legion soldiers in North Africa. His name stood above the title, but major fame still felt distant. For most of the decade, he worked in low-budget films made by companies such as Monogram and Mascot. Wayne later estimated that he appeared in about 80 horse operas between 1930 and 1939. In Riders of Destiny, he became one of cinema's early singing cowboys, although another voice handled the songs. He also appeared in several Three Musketeers adventures. These pictures were not glamorous, but they trained him. Stunt performers taught him how to ride, fall, fight, and move like a Western hero. Yakima Canutt became especially important. Together, Canutt and Wayne improved screen stunts and fight methods that remained useful for years. Wayne also believed heroes should stop fighting politely. He said villains once used chairs, lamps, and kicks, while heroes had to wait and fight clean. "I changed all that," he claimed. He threw objects, fought hard, and said he fought to win. The endless cheap films built his confidence and fixed his cowboy image in viewers' minds. Still, major studios saw him as a B-picture actor. John Ford believed otherwise. When Ford tried to cast him in Stagecoach, investors resisted because Wayne's record looked weak. Ford finally made a deal with independent producer Walter Wanger, while bigger star Claire Trevor received top billing. Stagecoach opened in 1939 and became a critical and financial success. Wayne became a mainstream star, but war raised one question that would follow him for decades afterward: the choice. John Wayne could never escape. When the United States entered the Second World War, Hollywood joined the national effort. Wayne was 34 at Pearl Harbor and had a family, so he received a 3A deferment. He wrote to John Ford several times, saying he wanted to enlist, and once asked whether he could join Ford's military unit. However, he did not fight a reclassification that could have made him eligible. Republic Studios opposed losing its only major star and warned that leaving his contract could bring a lawsuit. National Archives records show Wayne later applied to serve in the Office of Strategic Services. the group before the CIA, but he was not accepted. He did tour bases and hospitals in the South Pacific with the USO for 3 months during 1943 and 1944. During that trip, he carried out a request from OSS Chief William Donovan to judge whether General Douglas MacArthur or his staff were blocking OSS work. Donovan gave him an OSS Certificate of Service. Still, Wayne's lack of military duty became lasting pain for many years. His widow later wrote that he became a super patriot because he was trying to make up for staying home. His career kept rising while others served. The Shepherd of the Hills in 1941 became his first color film. In 1942, he appeared in Cecil B. DeMille's Reap the Wild Wind and played a man with doubtful values, which was unusual for him. He also appeared on radio programs hosted by Hedda Hopper and Luella Parsons and recreated film roles for radio drama. For 6 months in 1942, he starred as Dan O'Brien in 3 Sheets to the Wind, playing a detective who pretended to be an alcoholic while investigating cases. No Wayne episodes are known to survive. In 1949, director Robert Rossen offered him the lead in All the King's Men. Wayne rejected it because he considered the script un-American. Broderick Crawford took the role and won the Oscar, beating Wayne's first Best Actor nomination for Sands of Iwo Jima. That defeat made Wayne more determined to control his career, and the next decade finally gave him that power. Fame gave John Wayne a dangerous new power. Wayne entered the 1950s with growing power and control. He wanted to play Jimmy Ringo in The Gunfighter, but refused to work for Columbia because Harry Cohn had treated him badly years earlier. Cohn sold the project to another studio, and Gregory Peck received the role Wayne wanted. In 1952, Wayne helped form a production company that became Batjack. The name came from the fictional shipping company Batjack, in wake of the Red Witch. A secretary misspelled it, and Wayne kept the mistake. Through Batjack, he produced films for himself and other stars. The company also made 7 Men from Now and Gun the Man Down. Wayne's popularity grew. He won praise as a heroic co-pilot in The High and the Mighty, and played aviators in several other films. His partnership with John Ford remained central. Across 20 years, he appeared in nearly 24 Ford films, including She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, The Quiet Man, and The Searchers. The Searchers gave him a dark, complex role and included the word pilgrim, later closely linked with him. Not every project worked so well. He clashed with director John Huston during The Barbarian and The Geisha. He also played Genghis Khan in The Conqueror, a role critics attacked. Still, he moved between comedy, war, adventure, and westerns without losing his image. Rio Bravo, released in 1959, placed him beside Dean Martin, Ricky Nelson, Angie Dickinson, Walter Brennan, and Ward Bond. Wayne treated it as an answer to High Noon, a western he strongly disliked because he saw its message as an attack on anti-communism. His attacks on other films became famous. He condemned Midnight Cowboy and disliked the bleak mood of Clint Eastwood's High Plains Drifter. According to his daughter Asa, he also called Gene Hackman the worst actor in town and repeatedly described him as awful. Hackman later became a 2-time Oscar winner, but Wayne never softened his view. By then, Duke was more than an actor. He had become a judge of what American films should be, and the next decade gave him enough power to put those beliefs directly on screen. The controversial movie he called his duty. In 1960, Wayne directed and produced The Alamo, his first film as a director, and played Davy Crockett. The project earned him an Oscar nomination for Best Picture. That year, he also starred in North to Alaska, followed by The Comancheros in 1961. In 1962, he reunited with John Ford for The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance and appeared in Hatari and The Longest Day. While most major actors accepted $10,000 for The Longest Day, Wayne received $250,000 because of an earlier dispute with producer Darrell F. Zanuck. His military image kept growing, but not everyone respected it. Actor Vic Morrow said Army instructors training the cast of Combat repeatedly warned them not to act like John Wayne. Wayne's final film with Ford was Donovan's Reef in 1963. He then continued with McClintock in Harm's Way, The Sons of Katie Elder, The War Wagon, and El Dorado. In 1968, Wayne co-directed and starred in The Green Berets, one of the few major Hollywood films supporting the Vietnam War. He saw the project as a patriotic duty. Critics, however, pointed to the contrast between his heroic war roles and his own lack of military service. During filming, the Montagnard people gave him a brass bracelet, which he wore in every later movie. Then came True Grit in 1969. As the rough, one-eyed Rooster Cogburn, Wayne finally won the Academy Award for Best Actor. The victory came after decades of success and years after losing his first nomination to a film he deeply disliked. Wayne had reached the top of the awards world, but age, illness, and changing public taste were already closing in around him. John Wayne's final role became painfully real. Wayne continued working through the 1970s, even as his hero image began to look increasingly dated. Chisholm and Rio Lobo arrived in 1970. Rio Lobo again used a story close to Rio Bravo, though it lacked a second star with the box office strength of Dean Martin or Robert Mitchum. Big Jake followed in 1971. Wayne played an estranged father forced to hunt the men who kidnapped his grandson, and the film became a hit. In The Cowboys in 1972, he took on the role of an older guide and father figure. Critic Vincent Canby, who did not love the film, still called Wayne marvelously indestructible and almost a perfect father figure. That same year, the Atlanta Falcons selected him in the final round of the NFL draft because of his old football experience. League officials canceled the pick because Wayne was 64. His later films moved beyond the open range. He appeared in The Train Robbers and Cahill U.S. Marshal in 1973. Cahill failed at the box office. In Menkiku, released in 1974, he played a modern detective. Brannigan placed him in London as a Chicago police lieutenant, chasing an organized crime figure. In 1975, he returned to his Oscar-winning character in Rooster Cogburn, acting beside Katharine Hepburn. His final film arrived in 1976. The Shootist told the story of J.B. Brooks, an aging gunfighter dying of cancer. The role was painfully close to Wayne's own life. Lauren Bacall, Ron Howard, and James Stewart appeared with him. The story also resembled The Gunfighter, the role Wayne had once wanted but refused because of his feud with Columbia. The Shootist earned positive reviews and appeared on the National Board of Review's list of the 10 best films of 1976. Roger Ebert also placed it 10th on his own yearly list. The film received nominations from the Oscars, Golden Globes, BAFTA, and the Writers Guild. Wayne's last screen character faced death while trying to control his final days. Away from the cameras, the real man had also spent years trying to control marriages, family ties, habits, and the private world hidden behind his public strength. The night his wife nearly shot him. Wayne married 3 times and divorced twice. His first wife was Josephine Alicia Sáenz, who had Spanish-American roots and was born into a Panamanian family. They had 4 children: Michael, Tony, Patrick, and Melinda. His second wife was Mexican actress Esperanza Bauer. That marriage ended in anger and suspicion. Esperanza believed Wayne was having an affair with actress Gail Russell during Angel and the Bad Man, although both Wayne and Russell denied it. After the final night party for the film, Wayne came home late. Esperanza, drunk and furious, tried to shoot him as he entered the house. His third wife was Peruvian actress Pilar Palete. They had 3 children, Isa, Ethan, and Marissa. Several children later entered film or television. Ethan appeared in films, worked in an update of Adam 12, and later helped identify objects linked to his father on Pawn Stars. Asa's daughter Jennifer became part of the country group Runaway June. Wayne's romantic life did not remain inside marriage. He had a long affair with Merle Oberon from 1938 to 1947. After separating from Pilar in 1973, he lived with former secretary Pat Stacey until his death. Stacey later wrote Duke, a love story. Pilar, a keen tennis player, encouraged him to build the John Wayne Tennis Club in Newport Beach in 1973. It was sold in 1995 and became the Palisades Tennis Club. Wayne's private habits also broke the perfect cowboy image. His hair began thinning during the 1940s, and he wore a hairpiece. When a Harvard student asked whether it was real mohair, Wayne replied, "That's real hair. Not mine, but real hair." He loved books by Charles Dickens, Arthur Conan Doyle, and Agatha Christie. He also played chess. Roger Ebert remembered trapping Wayne's queen after Wayne accidentally pointed out the danger himself. Wayne laughed and asked why he had said it. He did not mind Rock Hudson's sexuality, according to one account, and answered, "Who the hell cares? The man plays great chess." These details made him sound warmer and funnier than the hard figure on screen, but other habits carried a much darker cost. The habits that slowly destroyed the Duke. Wayne had smoked cigarettes heavily since young adulthood. In 1964, doctors diagnosed lung cancer and removed his entire left lung and 2 ribs. Business partners wanted him to hide the illness, fearing career damage. Wayne refused. He told the public he had cancer and urged people to receive preventive checks. 5 years later, he was declared free of the disease. He became linked with the phrase "the big C" as a softer name for cancer. Drinking was another part of his life. Biographer Michael Munn described his habits, while editor Sam Osteen wrote that directors often filmed Wayne's scenes before noon because he could become a mean drunk later in the day. Roger Ebert quoted Wayne joking, "Tequila makes your head hurt. Not from your hangover, from falling over and hitting your head." He was deeply involved in Freemasonry. He became a master mason in Tucson, reached the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite, joined the shrine in Los Angeles with Roy Rogers, and later entered the York Rite. The Demolay group from his youth had remained one early link to that world. Wayne bought the island of Taborcillo near Panama during the early 1960s. He also treasured his yacht, Wild Goose, kept in Newport Beach Harbor, and later placed on the National Register of Historic Places. Cancer eventually returned in another form. Wayne entered a cancer vaccine study, hoping to stop the disease, but died of stomach cancer at UCLA Medical Center on June 11, 1979. He was 72. His son, Patrick, and grandson, Matthew Munoz, said he converted to Roman Catholicism shortly before death. Wayne wanted his tombstone to read "Feo, fuerte y formal," which he explained as ugly, strong, and dignified. His grave stayed unmarked for 20 years. In 1999, it received words about tomorrow arriving clean at midnight and hoping people had learned from yesterday. In 1985, his family allowed his name to support the John Wayne Cancer Foundation. Its mission was to bring courage, strength, and grit to cancer care, research, education, awareness, and support. Yet the fiercest fight over Wayne's legacy began with the politics he made public. John Wayne was never just an actor. For much of his life, Wayne was one of Hollywood's most outspoken conservative Republicans. He backed anti-communist causes, helped form the Motion Picture Alliance for the Preservation of American Ideals in 1944, and became its president 5 years later. He also supported the House Un-American Activities Committee and played a HUAC investigator in Big Jim McLean. Critics accused him of helping enforce the Hollywood blacklist by blocking work for actors and writers with opposing political views. His voting record, however, was not completely simple. He voted for Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1936, admired Harry Truman, and later supported figures such as Joseph McCarthy, Barry Goldwater, Richard Nixon, and Ronald Reagan. When John F. Kennedy defeated Nixon in 1960, Wayne said Kennedy was still his president and hoped he would succeed. Republican supporters asked Wayne to run for office in 1968, but he refused, joking that voters would never take an actor in the White House seriously. He also rejected an offer to join George Wallace's presidential campaign and supported Nixon instead. In 1971, Wayne wrote to Nixon opposing his planned trip to China and used hateful language about Henry Kissinger. Wayne later broke with many conservatives over the Panama Canal. He believed Panama had the right to control it and supported the treaty backed by President Jimmy Carter. His friendship with Panamanian leader Omar Torrijos and his ties to the country shaped that view. But the decision brought him hate mail. He could also defend free speech from people he disliked, saying Jane Fonda still had the right to speak. Roger Ebert recalled that Wayne could even joke about his own politics. His public comments on race, however, created damage that humor could never erase. The interview that shattered his hero image. In May 1971, Playboy published an interview central to Wayne's modern controversy. He spoke about race, Native Americans, welfare, socialism, and changing films. Wayne said he believed in white supremacy until black people were, in his words, educated to a point of responsibility. He also said he did not believe the country had done wrong by taking land from Native Americans and described that loss as survival. He used a homophobic slur while criticizing Midnight Cowboy and attacked films he considered perverted. He said he had once thought like a socialist at USC, but later rejected that view. He supported welfare tied to work and attacked people he believed avoided responsibility. The remarks kept returning after his death. In 2019, parts of the interview spread widely online. New calls appeared to remove his name from the Orange County Airport. His son Ethan defended him, saying it was unfair to judge his father through one interview used without his full life story. Ethan admitted that Wayne had used a terrible word, but argued that his father judged people by their work, not by race, gender, or sexuality. Critics answered that the comments were extreme even in 1971. During the George Floyd protests in 2020, the airport debate grew stronger, but the name remained unchanged as of 2026. Students at the University of Southern California demanded action. Wayne had attended USC on a football scholarship, and the film school created his public exhibit in 2012. In 2020, USC removed it from public display and moved the material to its Cinematic Arts Library for research. The school said the change followed wider talks about racism and the part cultural institutions should play. A proposal for a John Wayne Day in California had already failed in 2016 after lawmakers read his Playboy words aloud. His westerns also faced fresh criticism for showing Native Americans as simple enemies, while ignoring how settlers took their land. Wayne remained a film legend, but the image of the clean American hero had cracked. Then his will revealed that even inside his own family, not everyone stood equally close to the Duke. The will that revealed John Wayne's final grudges. When Wayne died, his estate was valued at about $6.85 million. Records listed $1 million in real property, $5.75 million in personal property, and $100,000 in income. The shock was not a hidden gun, secret room, or lost film. It was how he divided his fortune after death. Pilar, his third wife and their 3 children's mother, received nothing through the will. His lawyer said she had already been provided for in their separation agreement. Pat Stacy, the former secretary who lived with him afterward, received $30,000. Longtime secretary Mary St. John received $10,000. Each child received an age-based amount, calculated as $5,000 for every year lived beyond the age of 21. The report said eldest son Michael would receive $115,000. Wayne's paintings, sculptures, art objects, and Native American pieces were directed to organizations that could provide tax deductions. The rest went into trusts. One paid first wife Josephine $3,000 each month, with those funds later passing to their 4 children. Michael also received Wayne's Batjack stock and became an estate administrator. The Arizona ranch was treated as personal property because Wayne owned it through company stock. Other holdings included his Newport Harbor home and land on Puget Sound. One person was specifically excluded. Donald LaCava, husband of Wayne's eldest daughter Toni, could not receive anything or collect Toni's share after her death. Wayne's lawyer would not explain why. His properties also challenged the giant screen image. The Newport Beach home facing Balboa Island was called simple and unpretentious, with an older station wagon outside. Wayne joked he was glad he had moved there earlier because he could not afford it later. In 2023, his former 2,000-acre California ranch, Pavo Real, was listed for $12 million, with a house, barn, wells, trails, and land for cattle and horses. His Panama Island was sold by the estate. His heirs later used the Duke name through John Wayne Enterprises, selling products including bourbon and fighting Duke University over trademarks. Yet the coldest mystery remained in the will. Why did Wayne make sure one son-in-law could never touch any part of what he left behind? Do you think John Wayne's will showed careful planning, or did it reveal hidden family tension? And what do you believe happened that made him completely shut one son-in-law out of his estate? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible stories from Hollywood's fascinating history. See you next time.